Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the weekly news and review for December 5th, 2025. We're heading into a holiday season. Hopefully you have the holiday cheer, and this news should possibly cheer you up. We have Masterpiece Transformers news, and of course we have Legends news. We got Mainline news, if you want to call it news. We also have news from other than just Transformers, of course. Neca is putting back out the Robocop, but is it different? Is it changed, or is it the same thing? We're going to talk about that coming up. We got HasLab projects, and a little update on that. Well, there's 2 days to go in these HasLab projects. 2 to 3. 1.5, 2.5, something like that. We'll talk about that coming up. Ramen Toys is shipping and arriving. And I guess they still make Star Wars toys. Go figure. We're going to talk about all this coming up. First up, what's new and cool at Show Z? Well, there's this Joy Toy Source 1/18 Warhammer. So that's a 3.75 inch sort of the 40K Space Marine. Now, a buddy of mine called me up asking about Warhammer stuff at Show Z, and I'm like, are you crazy? Order it from Show Z. It's the best price, and I suggest it. So anyway, this stuff does look pretty cool. So I started looking at it because he was asking me about it, and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. But it is $60, and if you're in on this, $60. Cool looking figure. So Zeta is offering a Bruticus with a die-cast chest. Now, there was a time where I was irritated that they'd keep coming out with the same figure and just making it better and better and better. But I got past that, and I'm okay. I'm not in the swapping out for the exact same figure to get a chest piece. But I would like them to offer it to sell. Like $20. Hey, you want this chest piece? $20, you can have it. Or buy the whole thing, but why not? I mean, what are they really losing if they offer the chest piece? But anyway, it's $390, but $5 down, double your deposit discount. You can save some money on this thing if you want it. And they have a KO of the MP52 Starscream as a Ghost Starscream clear version 2.5, 3.0. Anyway, it's pretty interesting. And I'm not big on clear figures, but I really think this is a good idea. Simply because of the fact that the Ghost would be clear, Starscream clear. That's really interesting in my opinion. So here it is in the alt mode, clear jet, looks good, pretty cool. And then we have this one right here, which is with a clear Megatron. Now I missed out on clear Megatron, or is it clear Megatron coming? One or the other. I probably saw it and just was like, I don't do clear. But it makes more sense for Starscream than Megatron. Price around $135. So when I talked about this upgrade kit last week for Starscream, this is the Deformation Space one. I didn't have a picture of this. This is the picture I wanted to show last week, and I didn't have it. But if you look, the back isn't ultra messy. It's not that bad. But when you look at what it looks like on the left, the without the upgrade kit, and on the right with the upgrade kit, it's like day and night. But when you look at it, you're like, it's not that bad. I've seen worse on the back of a Masterpiece Transformer. But this little kit for like $20 cleans up that figure. And it's already a pretty cheap figure. It's pretty affordable. So another $20 to make it look this good? Wow, that's amazing. I'm in on all of these upgrade kits, by the way. Since there's not really much other Masterpiece Beast Wars out there, this is the KO of the Perfect Effects Beast Garura, and it's in the works. So I don't think it's up for pre-order anywhere yet. I don't know what the price will be on this thing yet, but it's one of those Optimal Optimus, and if you know what that is, then you know what it is. It's pretty cool, interesting. I think they did a pretty good job with the original. I'm interested in seeing if the KO does any improvements or anything. There it is, unpainted. These are not the actual end colors, I hope. So MMC threw out this picture of the PS21 Medicus, and it's really interesting because this combiner is in the works and going to be releasing parts of it soon, hopefully, and hopefully we're going to see how it holds up next to the X-Transbots. Now, I actually think overall, if you factor out the size difference, the MMC is going to be a better overall Transformer, a better overall figure, and it'll look even better, in my opinion, than what X-Transbots is doing. X-Transbots got me because of the size. This is for the engineering and the aesthetic and the look and all that kind of stuff. Looks good to me, and this is a lot of fun. It's kind of like it turns into the ambulance and then into the arm. And there's no parts here to parts form. That's kind of their trick, and a lot of people like that. But I'm not against parts forming, but this is pretty interesting. So a new third-party company is showing up, and all these new third-party companies want to make some Bumblebee movie Transformers. That's just the way it's going. No one surfaces other than Deformation Space, which we think's an already existing company just making up a new name. They don't make G1. They're all going towards this movie, which makes sense because they expect a broader audience following the movie line, and what's the Rise of the Beast is going to bring a whole other slew of these. Anyway, this new company's making an Optimus Prime. Go figure, another Optimus Prime. But it looks pretty good. It's got die cast in it. It's going to be 12 inches tall. So 30 centimeters, and I just read a whole crazy thing about people arguing about how tall 30 centimeters is in inches. But anyway, it's around 12 inches, something like that. And it looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like in the alt mode. So it looks pretty clean. It looks a lot like the movie and what you would expect. And it's 1 kilogram weight-wise. And it also includes a display base and a lot of other stuff. So LED lights. I don't have a price on this yet. And hopefully new companies out of the gate are pretty reasonably priced. So I hope they come swinging and aggressively price this thing so it'll sell. People give it a shot. If not, it might be dead in the water. X-Transbots is the leader in the Masterpiece Transformers field these days. The leader in announcements. So they've got this X-Transbots Master X series for TFCon Toronto, and it looks pretty interesting. It's called Ono, not Uno. Okay, I'm gonna talk about mispronouncing stuff here in a little bit, but it looks pretty interesting. It's just more or less their hoists painted red, and I'm sure there's a backstory to it. I need to read up on that, but there it is. TFCon Toronto. That's not the coolest thing they showed this week. By far, the coolest thing is showing packaging of their Jansen or their Perceptor, and this is going to be a tough one. I think they might beat Fans Toys. If they equal Fans Toys at $100 less, that's still a massive win. Just think about it. And it's already at the packaging stage, and I'm guessing there's Jansens in those boxes. Really exciting, and I look forward to this. If I like this enough, I might just cancel my Fans Toys. And I think half or 3/4 of the community is in agreement. I don't know if you can really call this Masterpiece or not, but I'm going to call it Masterpiece. But the Warrior Workshop C01 Scientist couple is, well, there's more pictures. This is interesting. I think that some people are anti-human. I mean, there are people around here that are anti-humans. They just want their Transformers. The human aspect on the shelf is interesting, and I really want to see how these scale. But most of the humans we've got in the past are just garbage, and these look to be pretty good. Now, will they be good? They look good. Will they be good? Will they paint the eyes? Will there be any face paint apps and stuff? So there's a couple of questions to it, but even if this is all we get, I think I'm okay with it. And Optus Nox, this field commander. Now this is, I think, Optus Pexus or something like that, which is going to be on everybody's #1 list for the. You know what? Let me just tell you. Fast forward through all those top 10 of 2021 lists and find Optus Pexus just chilling at the top. They've already said it. They've already said this is going to be their favorite figure. So Optus Nox, will this be #2 if it gets here in time? Who knows? Anyway, looking at this, it's just the black repaint, the Nemesis version, and it looks pretty good. Here it is in the alt mode and all that stuff. Now this is coming, it's like the incoming at Show Z right now, so if you want to jump on it, I mean, these things sell out pretty quick because this mold is pretty good from what all the other reviewers that have gotten this said, so I take their word for it. It looks pretty good. It's pretty interesting if you're in on this aesthetic. Okay, so I'm going to leave this in Masterpiece because for the price point, it's not Mainline or Legends. It's superior to that price-wise. Height-wise, maybe not. I'm not going to give away too much, but I got to say that the overall Super 7 Transformers is not really for me. And I'm not sure who it's for. See, I've got a big discussion about this. So they have these 4 figures, so I'll just point them out, and I'm not going to go into that big discussion because it's coming very, 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 very soon. But they've got, is it Tarn on the left, and we've got a G2 Megatron in the middle, and then we've got Wreck-Gar, And then we've got the Optimus Prime where his powers turn into an alligator, and he gets an arm. He gets the alligator arm or whatever, the Optimus Prime arm and all that kind of stuff. So with this is an interesting wave. It's different. I mean, that's kind of what Brian Flynn does. He does what he wants to do, what he likes from it, and I kind of understand that because for the most part, what I like, other people like, and it really works out because we're all from more or less the same era and all that. But there's a big, giant discussion that I've been wanting to have, and I think it's time, and I'll have it coming up soon. All right, so getting into some legends, we have more pictures of Iron Factory's IFEX54, and is the name Bay Razor? Anyway, this is their version of Beachcomber, and I personally like Magic Squares, but I missed it, and it's sold out, and McFan's Toys didn't hook me up with a KO oversize of that. And we have Iron Factory on the way with this one. We also have New Age coming later. This is incoming at Show Z, or everywhere, wherever you pre-order it, whatever. But I think it looks pretty interesting, but it's not G1. You know, we've already talked about this, but these pictures are so much better than the other pictures we had in the past. This is the real product. This is what you got to get. And I like it to a point. I'm still kind of trying to decide this or New Age. So New Age might actually win me because of the picture that I'm about to show you. I think New Age is going to win. Not for this character. It's a different character. But New Age is starting to blow me away with some of the stuff they're doing. But by the way, Iron Factory is not bad. I've never had a bad Iron Factory figure. So this in-hand image of the New Age Optimus Prime just looks amazing. I am a bit blown away. I've seen pictures of this, and I've seen so many different pictures. And it's the David, I think is what they call it, the H27. But in hand, the paint apps, New Age has done an outstanding job with this figure. It just looks amazing. I am a Magic Square guy. I like Magic Square 95% more often than New Age, but this one is starting to make me doubt it. I'm starting to think, is this worth $100? I mean, I think that's what it's going to cost at the end of the day, but man, it's a nice looking figure. So all of this, more or less, carries over into the Ultra Magnus. Now I'm actually happy with Magic Square's Ultra Magnus, and I can see kind of some issues with this Ultra Magnus. But man, that Optimus Prime is killer. Now, the one thing that's going to win in Magic Square is the size and the scale. I like a little bit bigger bots, and these are a bit smaller, but still at the end of the day, looks good. I am impressed with New Age. I wasn't up until I saw that last picture. Wow, they know how to present a figure and paint a figure. They do a great job. So, getting into some mainline stuff, Legends is kind of light this week. It's a feast or famine with Legends, but one of the things I want to say is that I do not do as many road trips as I used to because of the artificial inflation of gas prices and a lot of other problems. But I was almost weekly and twice a week. Now I'm like, I don't know, like once a month or once every 2 months. So I only have a few pictures of my own. So I'm down with OPP. If you don't know what OPP is, that is other people's pictures. And this is New Zealand International, but it's still kind of fun to look at, and looking at these side by side, Shadow Panther and Waspinator looks pretty interesting. I got one of I didn't get a Shadow Panther yet. Maybe I will pick that up. But I gotta say, these things are hitting hard everywhere. Like, hard everywhere. I can get them at every Walmart I walk into. Now, I have to admit, I never saw an ARC in a store, like a retail store, brick and mortar store. I got mine from TF Source for $160. Now they're jacking up their price now that it's out, and they're just jacking it up for whatever reason. So I don't know, $175 at TF Source now, but just higher and higher and higher on prices. But it's interesting because I don't see any Titans at retail in the US, but some people still pop up pictures internationally with Titans at retail. And I think this Ravage set here was a Pulse exclusive, so other countries get it a different way. Pulse is more of a US thing, and in the US, a lot of us don't even like it. We kind of hate it now. It kind of sucks now. But anyhow, you're lucky to get this and not have to deal with Hasbro Pulse at all. So speaking of Titans, I want to talk about Black Zarak, which is Scorponok painted in black and gold. Here is the box, and then we also have another picture of Black Zarak in his shipper box inside. here's how he is packaged, and it's kind of exciting, it's interesting, but the upcoming pictures are even more interesting than this. But I like seeing, this is sort of behind the scenes and stuff of how they package it. Here is Black Zarak next to Skapanak, and that gold and black looks so nice. But the original, of course, you can't beat the original and the original color scheme. I originally had 2 of these Black Zaraks on pre-order. Now I only have 1, you know, because of reasons, cash, money reasons. But still looks good. Now here's the head, and they didn't. This picture reverses the sides the guys are on, but the head of Black Zarak looks like a pirate. He's got like a pirate patch and all that. And I have to brush up on exactly the backstory on Black Zarak. No, I don't really. I just like the color, the design of it, so I get it. I don't really have to know the backstory. Do you? So Transformers Prime, nope, not Prime, Bumblebee version of Brawn looks pretty good. Now this is in-hand images of a factory sample that didn't quite make the cut to go into retail production. Anyway, it looks interesting. I think that I'm probably going to be in on this line. See, I didn't really like Studio Series with the Bayverse stuff, and then the Bumblebee was like a half step between Bayverse and G1, and I think it's a win-win in a way. And I think this is the best offering they have. Let's see the alt mode. And here it is. These pictures came from Prime vs. Prime, and Prime vs. Prime did something different that I don't usually see from him, and it actually showed up on my feed because it's different than what he usually does. And it was when he talked about the new upcoming reveals we're about to talk about with like RC and all that kind of stuff in the Transformers Bumblebee universe. So there was a TFW 2005 kind of a Zoom call between them. I tried to find a YouTube video about it. That's how Prime vs. Prime showed it up, talking about this stuff. But it's interesting because this is the RC from the Bumblebee movie, and I actually predicted they're making this exact version of RC, but she's kind of a beefy gal. Look at them thick thighs on her. Is it wrong of me to kind of like that? But anyway, she looks pretty good here. It's interesting. I don't know. This must have a really shiny reflective plastic, or it really won't work. I mean, if it's flat and it's not shiny, it's wrong. They need to have some sort of sheen to the plastic. It'll work. But the alt mode is different and surprised me. It's kind of like a motorcycle, kind of motorcycle, a futuristic, weird, 2-wheel front motorcycle. Interesting how they did it. Now, we got an RC back in the day, and there was another Fembot that was a motorcycle at the same time. And interesting how they did that. It's an incorporation of both classic RC and the motorcycle RC, and they did it well without any alt mode. They just made this up, and really cool, actually. I think it's really cool how they did it. Very, very interesting. I'm on board with it because it's RC, and it's weird, strange, and different, and cool, and crazy, and sexy, all at once. So we got a possible first look at Generation Select's Diaclone Ironhide in a black version. This is weird because, A, it looks weird. Mistransformed. I hate when they do this mistransform nonsense, but there's more of that coming. It's interesting. I don't know if it's really a great mold, a good mold, a great mold, but it's a Diaclone coloring, and if it's coming, then I guess we look forward to it in Generation Selects. Same thing with this weird picture, goofy picture of maybe a buzzsaw for Beast Wars. Is that like a Waspinator repaint or something? I don't know. I really don't know. So anyway, it's an interesting look at a highly mistransformed glob of mess. Let's clean this up before you take a picture. Staying in line with some Beast Wars stuff here. I really do like this Pterosaur, the golden disc version of this guy. And I only got one, and it's not here yet, of course. I wish I would have gotten two so I can keep one sealed, one open. You know, that's how I roll. Here it is next to Air Razor, and a very good figure. it looks pretty solid. A lot of people say there's some part reuse on this, so I'm looking at it and seeing that, yeah, I could see a bit of part reuse on it. Here's the alt mode, holding the golden disc, and this character was a lot of fun back in the day, and so, yeah, it works well. This is a massive upgrade to the vintage version. We got a core class picture of Hot Rod, and $10, you get a Hot Rod. It looks like this, core class, legend scale, works okay, looks pretty decent for core class. Better than what they did back in the day 10 years ago. It's been over 10 years since they put out the Legends scale version of Hot Rod, and this is an upgrade. I think it looks pretty good. I think it's like 12% better than what they did in the past. So I guess somebody somewhere in the world got their hands on a blaster. And this is kind of exciting because this rectifies a problem from back in the 80s where blaster was way bigger than Soundwave. And now they're side by side the correct size. It doesn't matter if you have Siege. It doesn't matter if you have the extremely hard to find elusive Walmart version of Soundwave. Either one of them, they look good next to this guy. So blaster, I think they did a good job with it. I see a handful of parts that could possibly have been reused, but for the most part, most parts were retooled. So pretty good. Kudos to Hasbro on making what looks to be a good blaster. I'll wait till I get one in hand to know for sure. Alright, so I'm going to start transitioning into some Star Wars news. Yes, Star Wars, they still make Star Wars figures for the time being, but right now, I just got my 80s Commanders. So I left the left case showing 80s Commanders and the right case to show, I flipped them to the side so you can see the figures. This is exciting and a lot more to come. A full opening, review, comparisons, everything compared to vintage, compared to the prototype, and did they improve from my prototype? All that stuff's coming on Wednesday. So the wait is over. Alley Vipers and Bats for the G.I. Joe Classified are up for pre-order at a lot of different places. Big Bad Toy Store is the most expensive right now at $25 plus tax, plus the $4 in shipping when you ship your pile of loot. And there's other places cheaper. The best deal I've found is at Entertainment Earth. Now this price hack is only for those of you who are interested in buying 5 of one figure. So if you go buy 5 Alley Vipers and you enter this code I show you, maybe it still works, I hope. It worked for me yesterday. If you buy 5 Bats and enter this code, this will get $15 off. And then for that, it makes them $20 each plus tax. Free shipping because you hit the $75 for free shipping. And this is $15 off $99 or more store-wide. So it worked for me, and I'm kind of excited for this because everywhere else wants 23 to 25 plus tax, plus sometimes shipping, and I don't know if I'll catch them in the store because they're going to sell like that. Classified as hot, even though it looks like it's dead, it really is hot. If you collect NECA and you are interested in Robocop or Rambo, see, Rambo and Robocop are both selling for ridiculous amounts of money on eBay. Like $150 for a good Rambo, like the best Rambo, the one that looks the best, or this Robocop, more or less. Now, I'm not 100% sure when I get in hand, will it look blue, will it look silver, because this looks like it could be silver, but most of the pictures look blue. Blue is more of the Robocop 2, silver is more of Robocop 1, but this gives you an upgraded head sculpt and a few other things, like a blast effect or something, that you didn't get with the first one. I don't think, well, I know I did not get this rifle with my first one, but the price is now $35 if you get it in the store, $38 if you get it through BBTS, which is the only place that I saw putting this up for pre-order so far, but it's pretty exciting if you're into it. And if you're into Robocop Battle Damaged with Chair for 70, then this is it. You get the chair, the computer monitor, all the stuff to make a whole scene with him sitting there getting repaired and all that from the original movie. So that's cool too. A lot of the same stuff carries over from the original figure. This is the battle damage version and all that. I think 90% of people want the original figure and like 10% of people want this at the higher price with the extra stuff on it. But again, I haven't really talked about this. This is discounted 10% for BBTS pre-orders. I don't see it pre-ordered anywhere else. And it's not going to show up till April. So won't be here for Christmas. Alright, so here we go with some HasLab stuff. Now, we've got take a day off of what I show here. Because this was, of course, Saturday. It's a lot of preparation to make this news. 3 days, so it's like 2 days left on the Sky Striker and 1 day left. Monday at 11 p.m. Central, midnight, some other time zone, for Rancor. This is almost over, and they're not funded, neither one. Now, I think I'm still out on Rancor. If they give me Ula and they give me a Dancer, I might bite. But that price is just killer. It's just horribly high for Rancor. Just ridiculously high for Rancor. I think HasLab is too big for their own britches. Now, looking over at the Sky Striker, the implications if Sky Striker funds are so massive and negative to the community, and I'll explain that in a video after it ends. But if it funds, I'll buy one because it's so bad, so negative for the future of ever getting a Sky Striker again. It's negative. So I'm going to talk about all this in another video, but nothing's good going on here. They gave us a Malakili. We'll talk about this. Alright, here we are with the Sky Striker. It wouldn't fund. They're struggling. So let's just throw this in. We probably will not get any of the tiers unlocked at all whatsoever. But we'll get this no matter what. They came out of the gate with a $500 Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. Straight arm. Well, no, it's got a swivel to it. I thought it was straight arm. Swivel arm Mickey Mouse. So I guess you won't be confusing people on the secondary market. It's going to be carded. This is one of those things that people just pay $500. I've seen people ask $800 for a Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. The symbol is wrong on his chest, which makes it valuable. It is early design, and they call it Mickey Mouse, or ME, I guess. This thing here changes the game because it's sought after as a figure. Now it's getting knocked off by Hasbro. They're knocking off their own stuff, which they wouldn't knock it off at first. So all this stuff going into it, Sky Striker, I will back this if it funds. If it funds, I buy one. End of story. Even though I'm against Sky Strikers being HasLab. Now the Rancor, on the other hand, they're going to throw in, whether you hit a tier or not, as long as it funds, you get Malakili. Now, the thing about this is the Rancor Keeper is going to come with the Rancor. He's not going to be carded. It's going to be like a little baggie. It might not even be sealed. It might just be like an open baggie. Maybe a Ziploc baggie? Who knows? Nah, that's too expensive. They'll have a open-end baggie for this guy. Not a card, not a coin, or any of that kind of stuff. This is a last-ditch effort to try to get this thing through. But the Rancor should have been $200 at retail. But they got really too big for their britches with all of the Marvel Legends ones going for so much. Now, why won't this Rancor sell? Because there are so many other Rancors in existence, it doesn't matter if it funds at all. I'm going to make a video about both these after it's all over and just recap it all and tell you what I think, because this is really, really bad in regards to HasLab. And I'm a big HasLab supporter, and I really don't want to touch either one of these projects. Alright, so getting into Star Wars, here we are with Bib Fortuna, Quill, and Bo-Katan Kryze for the Vintage Collection. These are the carded samples, and they're starting to show up, I guess, but looks pretty good to me. I love the Vintage Collection, and in a way, I hate it because of what they put out. They put out reissues and all this. When they need to make new figures, we need the original 96. There's a whole lot more they should be doing it. They could be doing with this, but these are fine. This is fine for me, but I don't know if some of the other things they put out are really worth their time. So, looking at Black Series, I have to be down with OPP because I will not see these for 2 to 3 months, but the newest wave of Black Series is showing up in San Diego. Really excited about this because Bib Fortuna, awesome. The Ponda Baba, awesome. Another Stormtrooper, okay. Okay, I'll take it. You know, some people missed out on that. If you haven't collected forever, like me, you miss out on those kinds of things. So it's kind of cool. Here we go with, is this the whole wave? I really think this whole wave is 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 figures. I don't know how I feel about this, but 8 separate figures in a wave. If one collector says, I'm a completist, you buy the whole wave. No matter what. So, anyway, a pretty good wave. I mean, there's something here for everybody. But, you know, 3 months from now, late February, early March, they'll start showing my target. So, GameStop Senate Guard Gaming Greats is supposed to start being up for pre-order, and you can order this guy. Interesting. I like it, but I kind of feel like the Senate Guard is missing. You're missing your cape, buddy. You might want to fix that, but it still looks cool. So Jedi Temple Archive showed kind of a difference between some of these different Rancors. If you're interested in jumping on that Rancor, like how does it compare for $350 versus a $605 sideshow collectible, or versus the $3,000 actual replica? I think I'm with the camp that less articulation and better aesthetic wins, but I still think HasLab Rancor looks good. I don't think it looks bad. I think the paint apps are okay. Some people disagree, but if it came out for $200, I'm all over it. $350, I'm very, very, very hesitant. So, what do you think about this week's weekly news in review? What else is going on out there that I didn't talk about? Is there anything cool that I missed that you guys are seeing out there? Of course, I want to stay in the know. I want to keep you in the know, and I'll keep you up on the deals. I want to know the deals. Like and subscribe to Dear Hanger out.